Hi, Tommy Heffernan, veterinary consultant with Precision Microbes here. Ahead of autumn calving, I want to just reinforce some key messages, things I've learned that I think are really important to optimize for better calf health and performance. If we think about what are we trying to achieve, be it KPIs, we're looking at average daily gain, we're looking at reduction of disease, reduction of antibiotics, and we're trying to drive calf health performance. And that's whether it's a beef or dairy calf. Really important with our dairy heifers as well, but what happens pre-weaning can actually impact future lifetime performance. Now, when we think about calf health, we always think about the minimization of disease or sickness. And there's a really simple principle I talk about, and I even created a life-size seesaw of this idea. We're trying to balance immunity and infection pressure. We're trying to drive up immunity, up immunity here, trying to drive down infection pressure on this side. Infection pressure is the amount of bugs or pathogens an animal is exposed to. Immunity is quite simple, it's the ability of the animal to fight disease or infection. So there's some key areas I think that really are worth focusing on ahead of autumn calving time. First one is the foundation of calf health, which is colostrum. We all know the 3 Qs of colostrum, the 1, 2, 3 rule, the kind of key metrics we need to get right. Colostrum basically is twice the fat and protein of normal milk, it's energy dense, it's got all the immunoglobulins, the antibodies that the cow has built up, disease exposure on the farm. We want to get it in quickly in the right quantities and the right quality. We can test colostrum on farm and that's very useful. One area I want people to focus on more in colostrum is actually, because it's twice the fat and protein of normal milk, it can be a real bacterial soup if we don't manage hygiene. So that's dump buckets, harvesting, stomach tubes, bottles when we're feeding colostrum. Even all those things will affect the absorption of colostrum. And when I test colostrum and do bacterial counts, it can be a real kind of a risk area. I think we've got really good at the quality, the quantity and the consistency of and timing of colostrum, but hygiene of colostrum is something you should focus on this autumn time. The next kind of key thing when I think about calf health is feeding the calf. Now it's a minefield of different milk replacers, feeding programs, etc. But think about immunity on one side and infection pressure. Let's make the link between immunity and feeding. We want to really that young calf to grow, whether it's a beef or heifer calf. And nutrition is key, so milk is really key. Even transition milk between colostrum and whole milk or normal milk is a really good tool in the first couple of days of life. It's got extra fat and protein in it as well. So when we think about feeding the calf, getting a program that works for you, but just know that if there's enough milk going in there, so we can really impact future lifetime performance in the first weeks of life. I'm a fan of more milk, there'll be different systems. But one thing I've learned about feeding calves is this: consistency and attention to detail. These are really, really key elements, so when we think about feeding. We want clean water, we want to make sure that we're getting concentrates in small amounts that calves are consuming, with helping their rumen development. But don't underestimate the impact of more milk in early life for calves. The third thing I think about with calves is back to the infection pressure and immunity. So drive up immunity, but infection pressure. So when we think about hygiene, it's actually really key to calf health. So hygiene is hard to kind of visualize because we can't see a lot of diseases. We have a lot of calves coming together, infection pressure rises, we see issues with scour and pneumonia. So simple protocols around hygiene that are repeatable, particularly with colostrum, dump buckets, stomach tubes, and also feeding equipment, the pen itself, navels and calves. So if you have a hygiene routine for your farm, reduce down the amount of infection pressure calves are exposed to. Another couple of tips: space per calf, having adequate space for calves, particularly in group pens, because we must think calves are growing, they're getting bigger. Aim for that 2 meters squared per calf. Another simple thing is this biological optimization. What does that mean? Well, if you give calves more of what they want, they'll perform better. Because ultimately, the simple things that affect immunity are stress, and if we've healthier calves, they're more ability to fight infection. So be aware of temperature, lying space, comfort for the calf. When we're dehorning calves or we're castrating, the use of painkillers and local anesthetic, that all helps with less disruptions, and what we want a very smooth pre-weaning period in the calf. Again, the environment the calf is in is really important. The calf actually spends 85% of its day lying down, so it's only 15 inches off the ground. When we think about environmental assessment, we need to get in with calves, we need to look at the calves. What do we need? We need plenty straw, a warm, dry lie. When we've wet bedding, it's the ideal environment for driving up infection pressure, And also, it makes calves cold. So when we think about a warm, dry lie, getting drainage right and good fresh air and ventilation. Now in autumn calving, we don't have to worry about cold so much, but we do have to still worry about ventilation. We can have too much air in there, but oftentimes I go into sheds, they're stuffy. So a very sophisticated tool, it's called our nose, works really well, for assessing the environment. And if every autumn you're getting issues with pneumonia, you need to speak with your own vet, but one of the areas you need to look into is the environment the calf is in. Fresh air is key. Another couple of tips, clean water. It's always a good time in advance of calving time to maybe test potable water sample, test water at the source in the calf shed. Make sure you've got clean water. They're needed for rumen development, but if we're mixing up milk replacer or using automated feeders, we want clean water. We're really aiming to reduce stress. Now, when we think about immunity and infection pressure, one impact on immune function, whether you're a calf or a human, is stress. So anything that causes stress, and some of them are unavoidable, like weather changes, but how we're handling calves, how we're dealing with calves, the more consistency and attention to detail we have, the less issues we'll have with stress in our calves. Where does Precision Microbes fit in this story of calf rearing? Well, you've got to get the basics right, but it is a tool and the most effective tool I've ever worked with when it comes to calves. Why is gut health so important? Well, we're thinking about performance. We're thinking a lot about nutrition. So nutrition goes in to drive performance, which is average daily gain and output. But that nutrition has to be absorbed in the gut. So the digestive function of the gut is really important. The microbiome, the calf microbes, the microbes in the calf's gut really play a key role in this. Also, 70% of the calf's immune system is gut-based. If we have issues with gut health, it affects overall immune function. And this seesaw I talk about, it can be disrupted. Precision Microbes is a unique liquid-prone postbiotic. It can be fed daily to calves from birth. It's 30 ml per calf per day. It goes in through milk, so it's highly palatable. It helps with appetite. So what have we seen both, I suppose, with trial work, independent of ourselves and our own trial work, is that we've seen a better average daily gain. We've also seen, I suppose this is the key thing I've seen on farm, and it's been replicated in trials now, that reduction of severity of digestive upsets and speeding up recovery. So the calves, even if they get digestive upsets, they've got that resilience in their gut and they've got that recovery to stay drinking. So when we think about Precision Microbes, it's really a tool that supports gut health, performance, and overall calf health, because so much of that immune system, 70%, is based in the gut. Protocol is simple: 30 ml per calf per day. During digestive upsets, top up with an extra 30 ml for 3 to 4 days. Again, working with your own vet, talk to your vet about Precision Microbes, how you can apply it on your farm this autumn time. It's a game-changing tool in calf rearing, but you got to get the basics right, and then putting a tool like Precision Microbes, it brings us another level up again. If you want more information for ourselves, you want to talk to us about Precision Microbes, just contact us at info@precisionmicrobes.com. Good luck ahead for the autumn calving season. Doing the basics well really does deliver. It's about consistent habits and routines. Calves will pay you back if you've got consistency and attention to detail. And it's not just the weeks of weaning, it's the future lifetime performance, whether it's beef or especially with our replacement heifers that are going to be producing milk. The better we do now, the bigger the impacts later on.